On this episode, we travel to Zurich for the 6th International Walking Conference. Then we visit the Voorhees Transportation Center in New Brunswick, New Jersey. We learn about the New Jersey Mayor's Wellness Campaign. Finally, we look at bicycle planning for a university. Stay tuned. We're in Zurich, Switzerland, talking with Rodney Tully, who's director of Walk 21. What is Walk 21?
Well, Walk 21 is an organisation that's set up to inspire and support and vision walking professionals around the world to help them to improve the walkability of their communities.
And what's been going on in Zurich this week?
Well, this is the 6th International Walking Conference. The first one was held in London in 2000. And since then it's been around the world through Perth in Western Australia, through San Sebastian in Spain, to Portland in Oregon, Copenhagen, Denmark, and now Zurich here for the 6th one.
What was the theme this year? What did you talk about?
We talked about all manner of things, but there were sort of several major themes. Health was one of them. Suburbs was another one, because we're getting really concerned that a lot of the good walking conditions are being created in pedestrian areas and city centres, but politicians are often forgetting about the places where people live out in the suburbs. So that was another major theme. Design issues, tools for professionals to actually achieve better walking conditions, all manner of subjects.
What was new this year that might have been a little different from what you've covered in some of the past ones?
Well, the overall title of the conference was Achieving an Everyday Walking Culture, and so there was a strong emphasis on culture and politics to try and make sure that we can get walking as part of our everyday lives rather than something that we do on a weekend or something for leisure activity. We want to try and create the sort of spaces and places where people naturally open their door in the morning and think, yes, I'll walk to work, or I'll walk to school, or I'll walk to the shops.
You're going to have another conference coming up next year in 2006. Where are you going next time?
Oh, we're going a long way away this time. We're going to Melbourne in Australia for the 7th International Walking Conference, and this one is going to be called Melbourne Walk 21, The Next Steps. And the focus there is going to be very much on implementation, on actually making these things happen. A very Australian pragmatic approach, I should say.
And what are you up to between your big conferences? Do you have anything else going on?
Yes, we do. Walk 21 has been running these conferences for the last 7 years, and we will continue to do so as long as we think there's a demand for them, and there still apparently is a demand. But what's happening is that the professionals who come to our conferences are inspired and enthused, and they go back to their own communities and seed those ideas into their local towns and cities. And so increasingly Walk 21 is being asked by those people to come back in and maybe run a workshop for senior decision makers and politicians, or maybe do a charrette with other professionals who weren't able to come to the conference, or maybe do an audit of their local streets or some benchmarking or something like that. So increasingly Walk 21 is becoming a sort of community of consultants, if you wish, experts, walking experts who can come into a community and try and put together a team that will make a difference there.
What's the bottom line? How do you measure success when you know you've had success?
That's a very difficult question to answer, and there are a number of ways of doing it, but I very much liked one that was said this afternoon at the conference, where somebody said if you simply count the number of people walking in a city, then that is a very good measure of the quality of life that you're achieving there. And indeed, we always argue that walkers are the sort of indicator species for quality of life.
We're in New Brunswick, New Jersey, talking with Ranjit Walia with the Voorhees Transportation Center. What is the center?
Well, we are a project that was established in 2000, and we're a partnership with the New Jersey Department of Transportation. We're funded by FHWA, administered by the New Jersey Department of Transportation, and we carry out a series of activities for them. We were chosen because we're in a university setting where we can kind of harness the resources of knowledgeable researchers, professors, staff, and also the planning and policy students who come to the school. We can use them towards trying to promote biking and walking in New Jersey.
And for those not familiar with New Brunswick, what university are we at?
We are at Rutgers University, and we're at the Alan M. Voorhees Transportation Center.
What sort of areas have you been working on lately?
Well, we have 4 major activities that we work on in the project. We are an information clearinghouse. We provide technical information services, education activities, and research. As far as an information clearinghouse, we're very proud that we've recently launched a website. And in this website, we make available resources such as guidance on biking, walking, and its relationship to transit, health, amongst a variety of other issues. We have both hard copy documents, which you can see on the shelves behind us, as well as downloadable electronic copies of the documents. We have images. We try and collect images that are relevant to New Jersey, although we do also have national images that people can then take and bring to their communities when they want to illustrate a concept, whether it be traffic calming or different kinds of sidewalks, or this is a good example or this is a bad example, what have you. We also have a video library as well. Now, what we try and do is gather information. So we have a function of our website called Talk the Walk. In that, people can make requests to us, or they can submit documents or tell us about projects or issues that they'd like us to talk with them about. They can also tell us about their websites. They can link with us, etc. And that's where the clearinghouse function comes in, where we put that information out to the public. We also are a technical information resource. So the public can, through the clearinghouse or through other means, they can approach us and they can tell us, we're really looking for information on how to craft a bicycle or pedestrian element to a master plan, or we really want to know about safe routes to school, or, it could be anything you can imagine. We have people speed too much in our community. How can we enhance walking? It can be a wide variety of topics. And then what we'll do our best to do is either turn them onto resources that can help them or help them ourselves. We also administer a statewide Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Council, and we try and get together a cross-section of stakeholders in biking and walking in New Jersey that includes state agencies such as the Department of Transportation, as well as DEP, New Jersey Transit, amongst others, the metropolitan planning organizations, counties, municipal representatives, TMAs, as well as knowledgeable consultants. We try and get all these people together in a room to talk about biking and walking, have educational presentations, as well as try and pick their brains about what are some major improvements that we could make in the state, and try and funnel that information, funnel those findings to the relevant decision makers who might be able to do something about that. So that's kind of what we do as a technical information resource. We also have educational activities. In the past, we've done pedestrian safety roadshows in partnership with FHWA. We've done real intersection design, where we've worked with Michael King. We make presentations to counties and municipalities upon request about how they can become more bicycle friendly or pedestrian friendly. Or we try and reach out to them and find out what their concerns are, so that we can develop a presentation that can be brought forward either by us to their community, or develop something that they can give to community members to present to other community members to kind of spread the word. We also engage in research. That's one of the major activities that we perform. In this year, one of the things that we'll be doing is looking at advisory boards. How can we make advisory boards for bicycling and walking credible? How can we find the best practices across the nation? What works well? What issues have they been confronting? What hasn't been working well? Try and pull that together and try and improve our advisory board, as well as disseminate that information to other states so they can get the benefit of learning from our research. We are also looking at pedestrian overpasses. Pedestrian overpasses are very expensive pieces of infrastructure, so when they should be used is very important. It's important to determine that. And are they effective? So we're going to perform some case studies on some pedestrian overpasses and see how well have they solved the problem that they were designed for. We're also doing research on sidewalk construction in New Jersey. How is it accomplished? Who are the players? What are the major concerns, such as liability, maintenance, etc.? And what recommendations can we make? And we're also doing research on what you would think would be a very simple topic, but turns out to be rather complicated, which is how can you cross the road safely? Crosswalks, how do people get across the road? What are the factors that go into that, such as the laws? So what is the legislative framework? And now what we'll be looking at also this year is what role do the courts and police have in this? And we want to gather as much information as possible, and perhaps later on see if we can't develop a learning module for the courts and police to educate them on the issues and what the legislative framework actually says. So in a nutshell, those are the four major activities that we engage in, and we're also in constant communication with the New Jersey Department of Transportation as issues come up, and then we try to help them as we can.
And how does the center differ from some of the other institutions that are out there, perhaps more of the National Center down in UNC or some of the other facilities out there?
I haven't done a detailed analysis of the other centers, but what I would say is that we are a resource for the public as well. I think that we serve something of a unique function in that we work with Department of Transportation and address their concerns and perform research for them. But the Department of Transportation and FHWA also want us to be a resource available to the public where they can ask us questions and we can help them directly as well. And also being an information clearinghouse, really trying to get information out there for people and trying to answer their questions directly.
And to reach the people, what's your website address?
It's going to be njbikeped.org. .org.
We're in New Brunswick, New Jersey, talking with Leanne Von Hagen at the Voorhees Transportation Center. What is the center?
The Voorhees Transportation Center is part of the Edward J. Blaustein School of Planning and Public Policy at Rutgers University. And we do research in transportation issues, the gamut of transportation issues for state and some national issues, be it ferry service, transit issues, but what we do particularly in this section of the Voorhees Transportation Center is research and programs on bicycle and pedestrian issues.
And next week you're going to be coming out with something related to peds and bikes. What's that?
Yes, next week we start a new program that we're proud of here. It's called the Mayor's Wellness Campaign, and we're working with some health professional community on promoting this Mayor's Wellness Campaign, specifically with the New Jersey Healthcare Quality Institute. And the Mayor's Wellness Campaign is our effort to get information out on healthy activities like walking and biking to local officials, mayors in particular, on what they can do to create healthy community design in their neighborhoods.
Who are the partners you've pulled together for this? Who do you need to work with besides just you're doing it yourself?
We've actually pulled together quite a number of partners. The main partner is the New Jersey Healthcare Quality Institute, and they've often been working on healthcare issues. But we've also been working with the Department of Transportation in New Jersey, and the New Jersey League of Municipalities, which is the organization for all the mayors and municipalities in New Jersey. And they've been a huge supporter of this project because they see this as an important information to get out to their constituents. We've also been working with Ramapo College and their nursing program that they do jointly with the University of Medicine and Dentistry in New Jersey, and other health provider folks who, working with the nursing students, we can reach out to a lot of communities through their classroom programs to do health assessments for these communities as we go forward with providing them information on the Mayor's Wellness Campaign and the tools that we'll be providing them as we kick off this effort.
And why mayors, municipalities? What's key about that level of government?
Well, we find that they're key in many ways. First off, when you're talking about issues, especially planning issues and deciding whether sidewalk goes in or putting in bike facilities, it's very much a local issue. It's up to the local municipality and the local government to decide if those facilities are provided or not. But beyond that, in the research that we've done and other research that others have done, we find that that's the area, that's sort of the weak area in getting information out on how to address issues of obesity and inactivity. For example, we had a conference in the state of New Jersey called the Common Ground Conference on Walking and Biking, where we had a lot of state officials, local officials, county officials, that spoke to us about how they could see a vision for making New Jersey the most walkable and bikeable state in the country. And some of the recommendations that directly came from that conference addressed getting this information out at the local level, getting the mayors informed on how important healthy community design is to providing future for our kids and all age groups on how to allow people to be active in their daily lifestyle. But we also, in a national respect, and there's really few more credible resources than the Institute on Medicine, and in their childhood obesity report exactly mirrored what we found with our conference on walking and biking, was that it's very important to get this information out on the local level, and it's one of the weaker areas that has been noted that it's just not getting down to the local level on how important this issue is. So this is where we hope that the Mayor's Wellness Campaign comes and makes that link.
You have the launch of it next week. What happens after that?
Well, a launch next week at the League of Municipalities Conference in Atlantic City, New Jersey, where we'll be able to talk with pretty much every mayor in the state, as well as many of the local officials, about 20,000 people at the conference typically. And we have a press conference coming up right after that with the New Jersey Commissioner for the Health Department, as well as our major funder for the Mayor's Wellness Campaign, which is Aetna. And they will have their CEO as part of the press conference to announce this Mayor's Wellness Campaign. Shortly after that, the real important deliverable on this project is what we're calling the Mayor's Wellness Campaign Toolbox. And that will be a menu of options that we will provide to the local municipalities on what they can do on adding healthy community design elements into their programs they can do at the local level, whether they're simple things they can do that aren't very cost effective or more long-term planning sort of projects. And we hope to have this toolbox in the mayor's hands in early 2006. We will have the toolbox kind of categorized into 4 strategy areas. We'll have strategies for addressing senior issues, youth issues, employee issues, as well as general community issues. So that's our next big step.
We're in New Brunswick, New Jersey, talking with Carrie Tyler with the Voorhees Transportation Center. What were you doing before you came here to the center?
I was doing a master's degree in urban planning with a focus in transportation planning and policy at the University of California, Los Angeles. And I worked as an intern my last year of grad school for UCLA's transportation services. So we did all the campus transportation planning.
And what sort of planning did they have for bicycles?
Well, the year that I was there, we had a new transportation planning manager, Sam Corbett, and he is an avid cyclist and decided to implement the first ever really campus bicycle program. So the program, included a component to create a bicycle master plan, which actually came about. I mean, Sam was hired partially because of, the university was getting a little more progressive, but partially because of past pressure from the cycling community on campus who really wanted UCLA to address cycling issues and felt that they hadn't in the past. So having Sam come on board was really helpful, and so we initiated the planning process for bike issues. So
is that key to get something like that started, having an active community that's interested in it?
Probably. I mean, it depends. I guess some places, it's the planners that get things started, and some places it's the constituency. I mean, because I guess, there are maybe some cities where, or campuses for that matter, where the students don't even notice these things or don't realize that they're real issues, but you have a really active transportation manager or something who rides his bike to work, for example, and decides he wants to change things or something. But so I think it's either or.
What once you decide you're gonna do a bicycle plan, how do you get started? What's the process? What goes into it?
Well, for UCLA's plan, we did some initial surveys, like commuter surveys. It was an online survey over the summer of 2004, where students just self-selected to come on to the website and answer questions about their commuting patterns, so we could sort of see which areas of the city students are coming from, what routes they're taking, how long their commutes are, what their general issues are with the routes they're taking, or what they see as needed improvements on campus, why they bike to campus, things like that. And then in fall of 2004, we had a community outreach meeting, which actually was probably the best way for us to gauge like what students and staff and faculty that bike to campus really want and need from UCLA to improve their cycling experience. Of course, UCLA can't do everything because a lot of it is the city of Los Angeles or city of Santa Monica, the county of LA, the different players depending on where staff, students, faculty are biking from, but it really helps to know these issues, if it's bike parking, if it's needing bike lockers or better lighting, just whatever the issues that students have with the end of their trip on campus, how we can encourage increasing mode share to campus. So that's basically how we got it started, and we did some cordon counts as well for biking to gauge how many people cycle to campus.
Now, what ends up going into a university bike plan that may be different from a city bike plan?
That's a good question. I think a big difference is that all the components are pretty much similar. You have like your network plan, safety or education plan, or components, bike parking, end of trip sort of facilities. But I think that the network plan is maybe less important in a campus bicycle plan. It depends on the size of your campus, but UCLA has a very small footprint, and there's only really a few places to even bike on campus. I mean, there's not a lot of car traffic, except for points leading into parking garages, but it's really more of the end of trip facilities, and education, safety, things like that we focused on more, especially bike parking, because that's a big issue of like the quality of bike parking. And there was definitely one of the big parts of the plan is UCLA wants to work with the city of Los Angeles, since the campus is right in the middle of an urban area. Clearly, because the campus is so small, every day people are biking in and out, so it's not like we don't have control over, say, the neighborhood that surrounds the campus. Is called Westwood. It's very it's a very pedestrian friendly community, maybe not as bike friendly just because there's a lot of traffic, but anyway, most people have to ride through Westwood to get to campus, and so it's important to open up relationships with the city and have UCLA Transportation Services make the city understand that they care about these biking issues, that it's important to, staff and faculty and students at UCLA, because we are one of the major attractors. We generate a lot of traffic for the LA region. I can't remember, but it's definitely, up there in the top 5 for areas within the city. And so it is important, and for us to increase bike trips and decrease car trips. So that was.
Now, once a plan is produced, what's the next step? After it's been printed up and distributed, what happens next?
Well, this is the draft plan was just distributed for review, and there was a meeting, I guess, last week for public comment period, and then further changes can be made if people are just, I don't actually know what came out of that meeting, but if people are unhappy with things, there's a chance for transportation services to go back and revise, maybe focus more on if there's something that the community feels like they missed. You can go back and revise the plan, and then a final plan would be issued, a final draft, and it would be adopted, and then it would be official, policy for the university. And one actual unique thing about California, about having a bicycle master plan in California, and the reason that it's important for a city or a campus, is that if you have a bicycle transportation master plan, you're eligible for bicycle funds from Caltrans, which is the state transportation planning agency. They have a bicycle transportation account, and that is the only way that you can get bike-specific money for projects, and campuses are eligible for that if they adopt a bicycle master plan. So that was another big reason that UCLA wanted to adopt a plan, so that we could benefit from some of that money, because we are a large public institution, and so it'd be nice to get some state help to encourage our bicycle commuters.
Visit us on the internet at www.pedestrians.org.